What is up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. Boy, oh boy, do I have some news for you guys. Everything that is happening is not a coincidence. I think it arrives at the time it needed to arrive. And I think that what you're seeing is going to tie in exactly to what I've been talking about here for months on end now. Probably a year or so. And one of the things is they want to take us back to the 1800s. What do I mean by that? The controlling powers want to limit the energy consumption around the world. Because if you are able to limit that, you limit travel, you limit food, right? You limit everything. Think about it. You no longer have, for example, oil and natural gas. These two things provide energy to move our trucks around, to deliver goods, to produce fertilizer, to heat homes, etc., etc. You cut that off, think of how much that would affect every single individual. And currently, Russia has 9%. It's the third largest oil exporter. 9%. And if you cut that off to the rest of the world, which they've done, there's a Russian pipeline that was cut off with that. I believe it was natural gas or oil. I can't remember. That was done. Then Germany shut off their nuclear plants. So they're literally, this whole agenda is exactly what you see here that Jim Rickards has wrote. He said, when you see things that look stupid, but the people behind them are not stupid, you have to ask, what is the hidden agenda? The White House actually wants higher energy prices and higher prices at the gas pump to end the use of oil and gas. Ukraine helps a Green New Deal because you shut off all these resources to commodities, and that allows for you to push your narrative forward because the Green New Deal wasn't going anywhere. But you put pressure, and then you start to see results. And I have a lot. I mean, we're not going to get everything today, but we're going to start seeing a lot of cyber attacks. There's a lot of people going out to get cash from their bank. And that's because SWIFT has, or at least the countries have decided to put sanctions on some of the central banks in Russia via SWIFT. And this individual has a very good point. As Ukraine starts having blackouts, internet outages, and threats of going totally offline, how does Bitcoin help you? Seriously. Cash and gold will help you flee, potentially survive. And I've always said, hey, you do what you got to do, whatever you feel is financially fit for your situation. But at the end of the day, you can't eat gold, you can't eat Bitcoin, you can't eat crypto, right? But there's an alternative, right? If you have gold or you have cash, you can help buy some of these items if they're available. Big if. Because you're going to start seeing scarcity very soon. And you're going to see the price of everything go drastically up. That's why I say when you have the opportunity to take your profits, take your profits. Okay? And you got to figure out what that plan looks like for you. And this is not financial advice. Here we see, this is a great post by George Gammon where he says, notice the last bullet point in the joint statement released by the United States and Europe on their counter to Russia. It sounds like that's not only directed at Russia, but every U.S. European citizen. Beware of them passing laws to censor you in the name of stopping Russia. Patriot Act 2.0, and I agree with him. It says, finally, we'll step up our coordination against disinformation and other forms of hybrid warfare. Folks, this is all coming together. It's all a plan to stranglehold each individual around the world, not just in a certain country, but worldwide. And now this is a new crisis because the old crisis was getting old. People were starting to, get tired of it and questioning it. And in order to drive people's attention from it, boom, insert another crisis. And they put your attention towards something else. And, that trucker convoy that was headed to D.C., unfortunately, I think that's going to lose steam because there's this major crisis that's at hand now. Okay. And then Jim Rickards, again, he's been posting a lot of good stuff. I highly recommend you follow him. He's written a lot of books that people are alluding to. And Ice 9, which is something I'll probably do a video on, is something that is very, very relevant today. Here he says people being arrested because they're protesting is a violation of free speech and human rights, right? Next, we have India's exploring ways to set up a rupee payment mechanism for trade with Russia. So they're trying to circumvent the dollar. And this is an interesting video that I'd probably do another day. But essentially, folks, we're in a point where our country is divided and we're very weak. And we've been divided left and right. I mean, it's been unbelievable to watch. But I mean, so has the whole world, right? They're trying to divide it into two groups. And this whole Russia thing is further getting people concentrated. You see everywhere where people are standing for Ukraine. And I understand that, right? Because war is not something that many people agree with. But we have to understand what's being done here and not get led to a certain place by the media, by this propaganda. Here we see Jim Rickards was reiterating the point, or reiterating something I just said. He said, please allow me to simplify the SWIFT discussion. Russia does not get dollars for free. They get dollars for oil. If you ban SWIFT payments, Russia will stop selling oil. That's about 9% of global output. There's an energy shortage already. The result will be global depression. And he hit it right on the nail. And you see SWIFT kicks out Russian banks, right? And this one was the one that stood out. So Expeditors International shuts down computer systems after cyber attack. They're the largest international logistics company in the U.S. So folks, if you think the supply chain was bad, you just wait. That's why I keep saying, hey, step by step, buy what you need, do what you can. Okay? A little here, a little there. Okay? You don't have to do it all at once. It's just little by little. You start preparing yourself. You see what's coming. Okay? Here it says, second, we will paralyze the assets of Russia's central bank. This will freeze its transactions, and it will make it impossible for the central bank to liquidate its assets. So Ice 9. I definitely have to do a video on that. Okay, here we see. This guy said Russia will be the fall guy and CyberPolygon will be blamed on them. But don't be fooled. They're being provoked by NATO and the West. CyberPolygon is a cyber pandemic that I've talked about. And these events make that even more of a reality. And we know there's going to be a cyber pandemic. They've been telling us for a while. But some people have just been wanting to ignore it. And that will come at their own peril, right? And here Joseph Wang, he's been on the George Gammon show. He used to work for the Fed. He says, I'm not sure of what is being done. Actually, I'm going to give him a follow. He says, I'm not sure what is being done is fully realized. Commodity prices are going to skyrocket with no end in sight. Inflation will be high and persistent. That could break the bond market, which would break all markets. So, folks, we're headed towards a very disastrous time. And I'm trying to get as much information out to you because there's so much that's been happening and I just haven't been able to make a video. But I'm trying to get as much as I can. I'll keep you guys updated as this continues. It says, here's that says, I wouldn't want to keep money in a bank that can't access the SWIFT system. Once a bank can't transfer or receive funds from other banks, its solvency can be at risk. If I were Russian, I would take my money out now. Bank runs could begin in Russia on Monday. Jim Rickard says, this may occur, but what happens in Russia doesn't stay in Russia. Ackman's egging on bank runs, but they're never local, always global. He says this will spill over into a global liquidity crisis within days. Count on it. We're literally heading towards a very serious crisis. And I think tomorrow I might do something covering ICE 9. But it's very serious. Very, very serious. We're headed towards very trivial times. And you need to be aware of it. And here, there's something else that Christine Lagarde posted out, and she's the head of the European Central Bank, and she said that she wants quick action on crypto regulation following Russian sanctions, and this will allow for the implementation of CBDCs. Now, I don't know if they'll ban any crypto. Who knows? Maybe if it's considered a matter of national security and it's needed, that might be a possibility. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that this is all leading towards the end outcome, CBDCs. And when everything is in the gutter and that's the only solution, people will want it to get back to normal, quote unquote. But folks, we are far from normal. We're never going back there. And you guys know this, but a lot of people don't. So this is the time to look at all these things that I've been talking about. Cyber pandemics, right? CBDCs, digital currencies, food scarcity, high prices, inflation. Folks, you're going to see people on the streets. You're going to see disease. You're going to see hunger. You're going to see homelessness like you've never seen before. And right now, the signs are showing what's coming. And if you're paying attention, if you've been watching my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The end of all things is definitely coming. There's an end game to this. And don't be fooled to thinking that, this is just going to pass by. No. Now, let's think level-headed here because I've just thrown a lot at you. A lot of people are calling World War III. I don't know what's going to happen, right? But I definitely think that all these events are accumulating to generate what they want to fulfill. And in order to get what they want to fulfill, they need to have people under panic and under fear. Because when people are scared and fearful, they'll want the government to do anything possible to make them feel safe. And that's what we're going to keep seeing. If World War III were to happen, you're basically talking nuclear war. So, I mean, likelihood of that, I don't know. Like I said, I can't say that it's not going to happen or that it will. But what I will say is that you see people desperate. You see nations desperate for war. Yes, that is a possibility. But regardless of the case, be mindful of the narrative. Don't get trapped into the media propaganda. Use common sense and do your part to prepare to have things extra. I'm not saying go buy a whole store and empty it out. No. Like, little by little, you do the things that you've planned for. Right? Don't get panicked and count on your preparation that you've been doing. And also, if you believe in God, that He's going to take care of things. So, without further ado, I do believe that you guys need to get this word out. because it's very serious. And I think that people need to be aware of what's going on. I presented as much information as I could in a little bit of time, and it's a lot. But we'll be digesting this as the week goes. I'll keep an eye out on the markets because tomorrow is Monday, and we'll see if these markets take a nosedive. So, without further ado, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.